So, hi everyone, and welcome to the Nittany Coffee & Co. and Vision team presentation. My name is Lauren Gemp, and I am the brand team director. We are very excited to be sharing with you today our Starbucks bulk card strategy and campaign. We have worked really hard over the past several months to research, understand, and strategically grow the bulk card model. So thank you all for taking the time to be here today. Before we get into things, I would like everyone to think about a relationship or connection that you have in your life. Some of these may be new and forming, others may be strengthening, and others have probably been staples in your life for as long as you can remember. Connections evolve with us through our lives, and it's very important to be able to validate, create, and elevate these no matter what stage of life you're in. Keep these in mind as we go through this presentation today. Today we will be going through some team introductions and sharing the task at hand, followed by sharing out our target market. We will then be introducing the new bulk card experience and model, as well as our campaign creatives, followed by a wrap-up and time for Q&A.
I'm sorry,
The screen page.
this. It doesn't work.
Great. So as I mentioned, my name is Lauren Gemp, and I'm the brand team director for Nittany Coffee & Co. I have worked alongside Sammy, Marlisa, and Lauren D. on our consumer insights team, and Ben Merritt as our brand comms manager. On our agency team Vision, this has been led by Cameron Willer as the account manager, Kelly O'Callaghan has been the strategy and planning director, and Rachel Clark and Celine Ferrari have been the creative leads on the campaign as well. So with our task at hand, it's important to note that Starbucks has long been a leader in the coffee industry, giving them a very unique opportunity to be able to innovate the way that the brand is shared and gifted by consumers. Starbucks does have the option to purchase their gift cards in bulk, but this has long been positioned as a B2B model. Now, we want to expand this model and target individual consumers in a new B2C model. By reaching these individual consumers and expanding this model, we are going to be able to make Starbucks more accessible and raise awareness of the opportunity to gift Starbucks and become the most gifted brand by consumers. When we began our research, we wanted to understand consumer perceptions. And when we looked at bulk versus Starbucks, we wanted to see how consumers went about thinking about this. So within bulk, we could clearly see that the connotation and the perception in consumers' minds did not line up with the high quality, high-end luxury that they saw Starbucks as across the experience. So we wanted to figure out how we could break away from this traditional thinking of bulk and this traditional perception and readapt the Starbucks bulk model to uphold the brand image, brand value, and quality across Starbucks experiences. The first conclusion that we came to was that bulk does not necessarily equal better. When looking at the Starbucks bulk model, it requires consumers to purchase at least 15 cards at a time in one order. When we talked to our focus groups and our surveys, the largest amount that consumers felt comfortable and willing to purchase at a time was 5. So this posed our first challenge of how can we connect consumers to our bulk purchasing model at Starbucks without making it seem like a daunting and overwhelming purchase. Next, we also wanted to stray away from this idea that bulk equals materialism. Over the past 5 years, we have seen trends as consumers have gone away from wanting to spend their money on material items and products, and 76% of consumers now want to spend money on experiences. So how can we position the Starbucks bulk card as the key to elevating experiences across life, bringing people together, and making those moments special? We wanted to look at our competition and understand how are people going about these experiences and how are they strengthening connections as the core of having these different relationships at the core of these experiences and connections. So first, as we look, people can connect across virtually and in-person experiences as well as material and experiences. So when we look at our gift card competitors, Amazon and Visa are the big players there, and they give complete freedom to the consumer to purchase whatever they want with that money. Then when we look over at our in-person and material competitors, we see our traditional coffee companies. So across Dunkin' and McCafe, they have definitely been seen as more of a utilitarian product rather than an experience that can be shared with someone. So people purchase these out of more necessity and routine rather than that luxury. We wanted to think a little bit bigger beyond these key competitors and see how can Starbucks connect people no matter what industry they want to participate in. So this brings us to connecting across industries. And as we've seen over the past few years, whether that means virtually with Zoom, that could be friends, family, colleagues, or now taking a SoulCycle class with a friend, or even taking a trip with an Airbnb stay. Through this presentation, we will be showing how Starbucks can be repositioned through the bulk card model to not only be a gift card player and a key competitor in the coffee industry, but encompass all of the benefits across these types of connection to help people create, validate, and elevate connections no matter their stage of life. I will now be passing it off to Kelly to talk a little bit more about this idea.
So Starbucks has been known as the third place for a long time, the place where people come to gather and connect when they're not at work and home. We felt that like this really encompassed the way that Starbucks is to consumers. So in order to figure out how we could leverage this, we wanted to dive deeper into the two other places of work and home. Over the past three years, the way we define work and home has changed radically. For some people, offices became obsolete and work became completely virtual. For the home, it became our gym, our office, our classroom. So how did these radical changes and the other two places affect Starbucks as that third place? We found out that 70% of people report meeting at coffee shops. During the pandemic, this was essentially flattened, and the connections that we would be making at this third place were essentially lost. We also looked at what virtual work was doing to our consumers. 53% of remote workers report feeling isolated. This is a problem because researchers that study friendship found that work is only second to university and high school for the place to make friends. Another thing that we looked at was American social circles from 2022. 54% of people say they wish that there was more ways to connect with their friends. Another interesting thing we found about connections during our research was during our focus group. Consumers said that actually some of these relationships were strengthened because people had the opportunity to take time and really connect with the people that were around them. So how can Starbucks elevate this and become the place that brings all of us together? It's through connections. Social connections are more important than ever. They can lower anxiety and depression, regulate emotions, and overall just improve someone's well-being. Now, I'm going to pass it off to Lauren to talk about a few specific individuals and how Starbucks can help them and their connections.
Thank you, Kelly. So who exactly are we talking about who want to gain these new experiences and elevate their connections? Starbucks has a very broad market with consumers of all different demographics from all across the country and even the world. But today we're going to focus in on 3 individuals who we believe really fit into the idea of our campaign that we're going to present today and that essential target market that Starbucks really looks for with the upper and middle class, well-educated individuals. So first, I would like to introduce you to Matthew. He's a student at New York University studying finance, and he has a really close relationship with his mom. His mom has been taking him to Starbucks for years on end, and he actually had his very first experiences there with her. Caffeine is a very important part of his life now because it helps him balance between school and work and social stuff as well. And in any form, it was consumed by actually 92% of students in the past year. But Matthew specifically is also a procrastinator. He likes to watch Netflix a lot. He loves ESPN+, he loves to go to the Y, and then he also loves his mom. He got really close to his mom over the pandemic and wants to keep that relationship with her, and she wants to as well. So she loves to send him money to get cake pops because he already had his coffee probably for the day, and that was something special that was between them when he was younger. So all of his hard work is really validated with a celebratory coffee. Next up, we have Rachel. She's a part-time pediatric nurse and a full-time mom. She's located in Santa Clara, California, and she has 2 daughters. Sorry, can you change slide? Thank you. So since the pandemic began, she really wants to focus on creating and celebrating small moments with her daughters. She loves utilizing her HelloFresh, Kiwi Crate, and Stitch Fix subscriptions, and has been taking her daughters to Starbucks to get pink drinks as a little bonding activity. She's not only a caregiver, but she's also a volunteer. She works really closely with the PTA moms at the school, and she loves working with the kids as well, and got very close to them over the years. Specifically, Rachel really is focused on creating those small moments with her daughters, as well as the PTA moms and people in her life that are important to her. Lastly, we have Caroline. She's 27 years old, and she's a lawyer from New Orleans, Louisiana, based in. And she's very busy. She started a dream job in a brand new city, and she really wants to elevate her career and her connections. She not only is really busy with work, but she also has a sister who's getting married soon, and she's her maid of honor. And she's super busy with professional life, trying to gain those new networking connections with her colleagues, as well as people who are above her in the workplace. She's also a big planner and loves to utilize her subscriptions on SoulCycle, her Wall Street Journal, listens to Spotify, and loves LinkedIn because it allows her to network with her old Vanderbilt alumni. I'm now going to pass it back to Kelly to talk about the commonality of connection.
So obviously, Matthew, Rachel, and Caroline are all very different individuals with very different lives, but there's one thing they all share, the commonality of connection. Matthew wants to validate a connection he strengthened with his mom during the pandemic. Rachel wants to continue building strong bonds with her daughters, and Caroline wants to elevate her professional connections and take them to the next level. So how can Starbucks help these individuals and many others in building these relationships? The answer is to celebrate. Starbucks doesn't only aid in the formation of connections, it celebrates them. The third place is somewhere where people can come together and really bond over activities and grow closer together. So how do we make specifically Starbucks bulk gift cards the backbone of celebrating these connections? Introducing the Starscription. We came up with an innovative model that allowed consumers to feel more comfortable purchasing in bulk. We recognized the barriers that people had when purchasing bulk, so we came up with a campaign that allowed people to feel like it was more an experience about connections rather than just a one-off gift card. We created 3 tiers that all have unique perks for each of our consumers. The first tier, Tall, would work well for a relationship like Matthew and his mother's. Each month, you can send them a gift card, and it will allow them to bond over that connection and continue creating memories around Starbucks. The second tier, Grande, would work well for someone like Rachel. She gets 3 cards 4 times a year, and she can use these cards to incentivize her daughters for school or to thank PTA moms after an event. The last tier, Venti, would work well for someone who really wants to take their connections to the next level, like Caroline. She would receive 2 cards or more a month, and she can use these cards to form connections with her colleagues or other mentors. This is an example of what our landing page could look like. It outlines each of our tiers and the benefits that it offers our consumers. We asked our focus group what their opinions are on subscriptions, and Courtney replied that she loves subscriptions because they are both a material and an experience. This really aligned with our goal of pushing the Starbucks bulk gift card towards an experience about connections rather than just a material gift card like Visa and the other ones. Another thing we found was that 8 in 10 adults report paying for at least one subscription service. This validated that it would be received well within the Starbucks community and that subscriptions are on the rise. So, why would someone want to purchase the subscription instead of just purchasing cards individually? Each tier offers unique benefits and perks that foster moments of connection. Let's dive deep into a few examples of what these moments of connection could look like for each of our user personas. Matthew and his mom could use the Tall tier, and each month they would get a unique quiz that could allow them to bond over different drinks they discover or different things they learned about themselves, allowing them to keep forming this relationship over the year. The second tier, Grande, could work well for Rachel. She could get a card each month, and she could have a QR code on it that connects to a video of her daughters thanking the teacher at the end of the year and get them to the teacher at the end. The last tier, Venti, Caroline could use because she receives a gift box in the mail each month, and she can use this to share with her sisters or to bring into the office to connect with coworkers over a cup of coffee. The Starscription acts as a bridge that provides unique benefits for each of our user personas. It allows people to appreciate, create, and validate these connections. People that study relationships found that it takes over 50 hours to build a strong relationship, and the Starscription acts as a reminder each month to put in the time and really validate those connections that you're making. Having connections is a real big privilege in all of our lives, and we want the Starscription to act as a way to celebrate those connections and really embrace them for what they are. Now I'm going to pass it to Cameron to talk a little bit more about how we plan to bring this campaign to life.
So just jumping into the campaign a little bit more, we're going to discuss how we're planning to visually convey our negative insight, Starbucks celebrates connections, through creative samples. So just an overview of our media plan, we really wanted to stress our strategy here and focus on our full funnel approach to organize our campaign a little bit and to walk through each stage of the customer journey with the customer. So starting with awareness, we'll be targeting all customers that we can, whether they're Starbucks users or not, just to get that largest consumer market aware of the Starscription model. Next, with consideration, we'll be targeting people that kind of frequent Starbucks more. Either they follow them on social media, have the Starbucks app on their phone, or go to Starbucks frequently, occasionally, and are able to see the advertisements that we place on Starbucks-specific media. And then lastly, for our last funnel, we have conversion. So here's all about a call to action and really prompting consumers to actually purchase one of our subscription tiers. So starting with our upper funnel of awareness, we wanted to use video advertisements here because with awareness, this is a new idea that we're introducing to Starbucks, who is already a mature brand and everybody already has their own perceptions about Starbucks and what they are. So we feel that video advertisements are the best media channel to do so because it gives us a little bit more time to explain the idea, as well as giving the consumer time to digest the idea in their heads a little bit more and kind of form the Starscription as a new thing in the coffee industry. So we want to do this with our user personas and use their storylines to explain the idea of Starscription and how Starbucks fits into their relationships in their lives and how Starbucks evolves with those relationships. So when we were first thinking of bulk and connections and connecting the two together, we were kind of thinking in a quite literal sense, so one person with many different connections. And while that can be true for a lot of people, it isn't true for everybody. A lot of people have a few more meaningful relationships in their lives and a lot of different people in their network. So we wanted to use this and have an individual relationship and focus on the bulk memories between those two individuals. So using this, we're going to start with Matthew and his mom, but we do want to use this with all of our user personas. So this is just a vision board of what the advertisement would look like, starting with scene 1 as Matthew as a baby. So he's throwing a fit in the car as his mom's just trying to run errands for her day and go get her daily Starbucks coffee. So as you can see, she takes him to Starbucks, is able to get him a cake pop to calm him down. And then from there on, you can kind of see how Starbucks just evolves with their relationship throughout both of their lives. So whether Matthew gets a good grade on his test, he's able to celebrate that with his mom by getting a Frappuccino. He's trying to find a gift for his mom for Mother's Day, he gets her a Starbucks gift card. Or even when he's a little bit older and is able to drink more coffee and actually handle caffeine, he's able to share a cup of coffee with her in the morning before they go off to school and work. And they're also able to do this for another extra year due to COVID, and we're able to strengthen that relationship even more. But eventually, he does have to go back to school and go off. So when she's dropping him back off at college for his first day of classes, they share one last Starbucks trip together and then aren't able to see each other for a couple months. But as you can see here, they do miss each other a lot, and they find that they miss each other most when they're reminded of their Starbucks tradition that they can no longer have due to the distance between them. So Matthew, when he's passing his local Starbucks that's right outside of his dorm, or his mom when she's enjoying her morning cup of coffee by herself. But the turning point of the ad here would be Matthew's mom discovering the Starscription model. And when she's doing this in the scene 7, she's able to find this, subscribe to the tall tier, and then send Matthew his gift card for the month, where he's able to go get his favorite order, which is just a cold foam coffee with a cake pop, and he's able to share that back with her of what he ordered with his gift card. And again, like I said, Matthew's doing this to validate his connection with his mom, and his mom, same thing. But we also want to do this with Rachel. She can create connections with the Starscription with different school leaders in her daughter's schools, and even the PTA moms as well. And also with Caroline, she's able to elevate her connections within her professional network by utilizing the Starscription. And another idea that we had that we wanted to integrate the idea of connections as much as possible is connecting our user personas in their individual ads. So having Rachel maybe be Matthew's mom's work friend, and she's able to show up in her ad that way. Or Rachel is also a part of a case that Caroline's working on, etc. And we wanted to do this just to really show the ripple effect and how powerful Starbucks is at amplifying connections across many different types of relationships. I'm now going to be passing off to Rachel to talk a little bit more about our last two funnels.
So for our middle funnel of consideration, we really want to target consumers who are already frequenting Starbucks often and have a lot of exposure to it. So these two ads show a bunch of different words that could fit into Starbucks and connections. So a lot of these words could fit with the different tiers we have. So for example, Matthew would probably want to use a word like stimulates more for creating his connections with his mom. But for Caroline, she would more want to use elevate. And this really allows consumers to be able to fill in whichever word they think fits their connections best, and really connects the idea of Starbucks and connections in consumers' minds. So these next two Instagram story ads really place a big focus on connections rather than the Starbucks brand itself. So this really places into the minds of consumers that they can create connections with people that they may not think about as much, like the mail carrier, because this really is what the Starscription is all about. It's just like creating connections with everybody around them. So this in-app advertisement focuses on the many different connections that people can make with the Starscription, with a big focus on bulk gift cards and bulk memories. This is an example of an in-store advertisement that we could have on the gift card display in store. So this would really allow consumers to easily be taken to the website with a QR code and instructions leading them to there. And since they're already looking at the gift card display, they would probably already be interested in purchasing gift cards. So this would really be a great place to advertise for this. And the QR code would really lead into the lower funnel of conversion by easily taking them to the website to be able to convert them. And for this example, it's an example of one we could have in a state college Starbucks, like the one on West College. So this would play into Penn State's brand and really relate to the consumers who are in the audience there more, so that they can really feel more engaged with the ad. And we could also do this with different locations, like a beach ad in California or other locations, to make it more specific to the consumers there. So now leading into the lower funnel of conversion, we really want to promote the brand and the Starscription and really get consumers to subscribe themselves. So in analyzing Instagram posts that Starbucks has had recently, we found that the posts that received the most engagement were posts that allowed consumers to assign themselves to Starbucks drinks or anything like that, or posts that related to pop culture, like this example with Bridgerton, or this example is with Taylor Swift's Red album that came out in November. So we really want to continue doing what's already doing well for Starbucks, like these ads, because these ads really allow consumers to tag people in the comments and create bonds over pop culture. So we want to do this with the Starscription as well. So these are examples of an adaptation of the Bridgerton ad that was just in the last slide, but with the Starscription itself. So this ad assigns subscribers to the Bridgerton characters and would allow consumers to take a quiz to see what kind of subscriber they are relating to this ad. And at the end of the quiz, it would easily take them into the website, easily allowing them to purchase it for themselves. And since pop culture is ever-changing, we could continue this idea by using ESPN Plus new athletes or new shows on Netflix, so we could really keep this going continuously. So this ad is an example of how consumers can really post about those connections that they created using the subscription and connect on the app itself with the subscription. So this would more target consumers who are looking to help the connections with their friends or family or people they're close with. But then this example is one that could be used with corporate buying. So companies who are purchasing for their employees could easily post on LinkedIn their employee of the month or anything like that, employees that they want to honor. And all of those posts on LinkedIn with this hashtag subscription could go together into an ad like we saw in the last slide.
Did I go the wrong way?
It's okay.
A little more.
Yeah.
There we go. So this ad focuses on discounts, and everybody loves getting discounts, so this ad really it facilitates referring friends so that we can really indirectly connect people through this ad. And this would allow them to get the perks of the subscription with connecting with people, which really goes along with our message. So giveaways and exclusive events, we are already doing these and doing them well, so we really want to continue doing them with the subscription. And we want to continue doing partnerships with Netflix to make exclusive events and really stay on brand and consistent. And everybody loves exclusivity, so we really want to position Starbucks as an exclusive brand. So these are just some examples of past giveaways and events we've done before, like the Netflix book club on the bottom. And we really just want to elevate these with the subscription model itself to be able to promote it as an exclusive brand and connect over these events. And I'm now going to pass it off to Cameron to wrap things up.
So just to conclude, as stated by our CEO, Kevin Johnson, Starbucks is the very foundation of human connection, and it has continued to be that and grow as a third place over many years. It is a constant in consumers' lives and has helped foster and encourage all different types of relationships. Our subscription plan and campaign is set on amplifying and building upon that insight to add value into consumers' lives by validating, creating, and elevating their connections across each of our subscription tiers. Thank you.
Yay, well done, team. I think, how much time do we have?
3 minutes, 9:33.
Okay, great, so we have a little bit of time. So thanks so much. We would love to open it up to questions among anybody in our audience. I think we could probably start with Abby and Bailey and then see if we have time otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. Just amazing job, you guys. Like, really, this was not an easy project. I'm well aware of that, and you guys just really pushed it. So thank you so much for this work. It's truly just super valuable to see. I do have a couple of questions. A couple of these are pretty tactical, and then I have one bigger one. But my first question is, so have you thought through how you would share the subscription model with consumers? So just wondering if it would be on the website or in an email they receive, just because it is like kind of complex information, and just wondering how that would be distributed.
Yeah, so as we showed earlier, the web page, we definitely want to have it featured on the web page through, I'm trying to find it. Oh my goodness. Okay. We definitely want to feature on the website and allow consumers to see each level there, but also through email marketing, we could probably send it out to them explaining each of the tiers and the benefits that they offer. So it definitely would be both of those ways. It is pretty complicated and brand new to the coffee industry, so I agree it's definitely a complex topic to show people, but I think really emphasizing what it's about and what it's for through social media and talking about connections is how we could at least introduce consumers to the idea.
Great. Yeah, that makes sense. And then I guess in terms of the website itself, did you think through where that would live? So would it be kind of its own standalone site like the Bolt site is today? Would it somehow be connected to the Starbucks.com site?
Yeah, so I think that we would still keep an individual website, but something we definitely wanted to have was links on Starbucks' actual website. So where you guys have your normal gift cards, having an option for the Starscription in the corner and really emphasizing that it's more than just one gift card and having that on the regular gift card page since people are probably going there to look for gift cards. So definitely having a link to the other website on your normal website.
Okay, great. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, great. And yeah, actually, I think those are my questions. Otherwise, just amazing job. Again, I think I've asked a lot of questions previously just about the campaign side of things too, which yeah, made a lot of sense. And just want to applaud your great storytelling as well. Everything was very clear, and I really appreciate it.
Yes, yeah, fantastic job. This really all came together amazing. I saw some things that you tweaked even from yesterday, so awesome job. Storytelling was on key. I have wanted to hear about how things just kind of came together pretty seamlessly. But I think my only question here is if you have data that's supporting like some of the places where you are advertising. So I know that you would tease out some of the like LinkedIn or Instagram when you talk through the personas, and then it kind of comes through in the actual tactical areas. But are there any places you think that our consumers are that you haven't listed, or vice versa?
So wait, hold on. I'm trying to make sure I understand what you're saying. Are you asking why we chose like certain platforms over others?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we definitely, social media is obviously a huge place where people are connecting, and that's why on part of our perceptual map, we had social media as a way that people connect. So we definitely want to have a lot of ads featured on there. And that is through LinkedIn, obviously. Speaking personally, LinkedIn is a huge platform for people that connect over work and careers. So we definitely feel like that would be a good place to feature it, especially for people like Caroline who want to elevate the professional relationships. Other than that, just having them across all social media platforms and then having our longer ads on places where people also form connections, which is a lot about pop culture. So having it as maybe an ad on Hulu or on YouTube where people often are bonding over the same TV show. So maybe they can see it when they're watching with a friend and be like, we should do that.
Yeah, and we also really want to utilize our video ad on streaming services because they are really intertwined with our model that we created with this bulk gift card subscription, especially since Starbucks already has these partnerships with stuff like Netflix and Spotify, and we could really utilize the video ads on those streaming platforms as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I was thinking about that when you were going through, I think it was Caroline's persona, how she's already an avid subscriber to a lot of things, and yet you have these tweets here as well. So I thought that was really smart. And I also just wanted to applaud the perceptual map. This is less of a question, but I felt like it was extremely clear when you brought in all of the different competitors, not only just coffee shops or food subscriptions, but also subscriptions like Amazon or Uber Eats, and we talked about that yesterday as well. So it made it extremely clear, and I think it is a good representation of where Starbucks sits in the space. So, good job.
This is also just another slide that we had in our appendix because we didn't know if we'd have time to present it. So it doesn't look the nicest, but it's kind of just ideas that we have for the growth of Starscription. So yeah, having a separate part on our app that can kind of act as a social media and tie into our other platforms. Subscription bags for just coffee if people don't necessarily want the gift cards. Having Starscription brick and mortar stores as well. I know that Pete's Coffee in New York City does this. And then also just being able to expand our partnerships. for like Kelly really likes the We're Not Really Strangers game, and that's a game that's all about connection. So maybe even tying that in, and that just allows us to have more availability to have more exclusive events and giveaways with our partnerships. And then also more sustainable gift cards, which Starbucks actually just came out with like new plantable gift cards. So we thought that was really cool too, and we could also tie into our subscription.
Awesome, I guess. I don't want to take up time, but subscription to brick and mortar stores, it's like your local store that's like giving subscription, is that's where you get like post discounts or something, is that how it
Yeah.
works?
And we can even, if Starbucks would want to extend it even further, like getting a free coffee like during a certain time frame. I know that Pete's Coffee does it like every hour you can get a new item from Pete's. That would just be an idea to kind of think through, but that is an option that we have.
Wow, awesome. We can probably open it up to other questions then, but again, fantastic job. This was really great.
Thank you so much. I think in the interest of time, we're going to move on to the next team. And so we'll hold questions from other audience members for the very end. I'd rather do it that way so we don't run out of time for the second presentation. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good job, guys.